be better off saying Lang J E Dave E Je.
So,
Dave and I traveled.
so that's one way that you can do it. You can say, you know, like Maleng, Dave, Jich, you know, me and Dave.
I often see caught, accompany. So I traveled, Dave accompanied me.
Sledge. Cot is to accompany, but in the musical.
Oh, no, wrong accompany.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Right.
Shoot, what was it?
Sledge.
Sledge, okay.
Cly et jai, sledge. Yeah, so this is where I was going. So you can say something like Dave and I go. Of course, that's not exactly what you're saying in the English version. The way to that a lot of people do this with sledge, if they want to say like I did this with somebody, right? Because Klingon doesn't have prepositions, and so how the heck do you say with? So the verb is sledge, which means to be with or to accompany, right? Jijach edge mutledge Dave, or Jijach mutledge tachvish Dave. This is, remember when we went over tachvish, I was saying that tachvish, while, covers a lot of weird things, a lot of things that would be weird to say while in English with, but in Klingon it's kind of natural. So like this is an example of that. Like if I were to walk up and say like Dave, I went while Dave was accompanying me, that would be weird in English. But in Klingon it's fine to say Jijach mutledge tachvish Dave, right? So sledge is the good word to use for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So, and you can do that with a bunch of other things as well. So, shoshwit v'kledge tachvish, nev shoj nev wit v'jach. Right. So, while I was with my mom, I went to the grocery store. Or more specifically, while I was accompanying my mom. And that's kind of cool too, because it's sort of, I think, from like that context, I'm accompanying my mom. So it's probably my mom that needs to go to the grocery store. So you get a little, I don't know, there's some information that you might not necessarily get in English. Yeah. I was going to say another thing, but now I forgot what it is. Oh, yes, I was going to talk about using tachvish. So, the type vish and type 7 tach on a verb. Make sure that if you're using tachvish, that it's not after an et. There's this weird rule in Klingon that you cannot use a type 7 aspect suffix after an et statement. So a correct phrase would be nevwit shoj nevwit v'jach et da shov. So I went to the food seller, the grocery store. That you know that I went to the grocery store. An incorrect phrase would be shoj nevwit v'jach et da shov pu. That would be ungrammatical. So it makes sense, right? But it breaks the rules. You finished knowing that I went to the grocery store. You don't say that in Klingon. Now that doesn't stop people from saying it. People do say it, and it's a pretty common error. But it's just so you know, it's not grammatical.
Does it matter whether the tachvish phrase comes first or second? I know that a lot of things like the purpose clauses and stuff come first, in order to do this, I did that. Does it matter with the tachvish?
Not grammatically. I mean, context-wise, it might.
Okay.
But not grammatically, no. But again, just don't use tachvish after an et phrase. So.
Didn't you write this sequence phrase?
Yeah, sure.
This example, which you just.
Sure. I'll take the whiteboard out. And okay, so let's see.
It's correct and incorrect version.
Yeah. Oopsie daisy. Where the hell? There we Okay, so I've wit v'jach tachvish. So as I was going to the store, right, or to the cellar, trying to think here. What's a good? Somebody give me a good like phrase that could be "et" in Klingon. Okay, my wit v'jach et ler shupwit. So my friend saw that I was going to the store. I went to the store, or I will go to the store, or yeah, etc. As they were dancing. So this is not grammatical, right? Because there's an tachbish that's after the et. That's not grammatical. So the way I would do this is go by the Klingon golden rule, which is when in doubt,
Use two sentences.
break up the sentences. So then I would just say muler de mit or mittach, whatever. So my friends saw me as I was going to the store. When they saw me, they were dancing. That's a good way of breaking up sentences. Now again, you might hear somebody say, it's as I said, it's a common error, but grammatically it's incorrect. Yeah. Make sense? Let me change my name. I have my camp name instead. There we go.
I was wondering.
You were wondering? Yeah. Cool. Chiago wanted to talk a little bit about the KLCP1. So as y'all probably know, it's an awesome week coming up because on Thursday, the qep'a is starting, and it's a sorry, that was Riley texting me to tell me she can't come. So it's just the 5 of us today. On Thursday is when the qep'a starts, but make sure that if you are planning on participating, that usually when it's held in like a physical venue, on Wednesday afternoon, there's usually like people who unofficially get together. So make sure to check out the Discord server where this is all taking place. So who is planning on attending the qep'a this year? Yeah, it is.
Yesterday, Alan Anderson and Anishka Sholska and the other people who were at our thrice weekly meetings were trying to cajole me into signing up, and I'm just not comfortable. I mean, I could not form a sentence without having to look up half the words.
That's fine.
And they're saying, but this is how you learn, going to these things. But I'm not going to be able to learn when I'm spending all my time looking up words, and they're now 8 sentences beyond the one I've just deciphered. And since I have problems with, let's say, an inferiority complex, I just think it's not a good situation for me. So
okay, that's fine.
They said something about going on the Discord server anyway, but I'm not sure what I would be able to see if I'm not signed up for the qep'a.
Well, you would be able to see, like, there might be some conversations happening outside of the actual, like, official qep'a thing. That's fine. Those are all valid reasons, and those are totally cool. And if you don't feel like, you want to participate, that's all. That's,
They didn't seem to consider them legitimate reasons.
I'm sorry.
When I asked them earlier, I asked a little bit. I said, I'm concerned that I'm not going to be able to keep up. Are there going to be recordings? Is there anything in English? And the folks on the Discord server said that a good chunk of the material is going to be presented in English.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that's going to be in English for sure. Yeah, and have no fear, because there are, there are a bunch of things that are like for either beginners or people who are progress intermediates, and the word usually in Klingon is qechwit. So I was thinking ones who progress. But yeah, so yeah, it's even if you have to look up words, like that's totally fine. There's different levels of like people. There's like a room for people who want to speak only in Klingon, and that's advanced stuff, and then people who like want to do mostly Klingon and will switch back into English or need some time to look things up in the dictionary. And then there's a room for like beginners, and most of the time you're going to be like talking about grammar and looking up words and is this correct? I don't know. And it's a lot of learning. But and that's like the mostly English room.
I know Agnieszka said she's gonna have a talk about her Sun Tzu's Art of War book, which we've been going through the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. That'll be definitely pretty cool. That came out last year, and no, not last year, 2 years ago. Oh my gosh, time flies. And yeah, she's great. She's done a whole bunch of stuff. I was actually going through her her Tao Te Ching.
I asked if we were going to cover that when we finish the Art of War, and she laughed. Apparently, it's a whole other kettle of fish.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah. Okay.
Maybe there is stuff for me then.
Yeah, for sure. There definitely is. Again, if you don't feel like it, don't let anybody force you to do something you don't want to do. But I would say that based on what you said, I think that there probably is a space where it can be an educative experience. An educational experience, excuse me. Yeah, qep'a, were you?
Yeah, is the thing that I'm concerned with is Discord. Well, I don't find it very user-friendly, to be honest. I think it's hard to get around to understanding which room you're supposed to, I think it's very confusing. So let's start with that. And then is there any video? Because if it's all going to be through audio, I don't understand as well the audio as I do when I see somebody speak.
Yeah.
And I'm more of a visual person, so that's what I'm concerned. I don't know why they couldn't do it on Zoom or something instead.
I was wondering the same thing actually, and then I figured out last night that they've figured out how to do like a video thing as well. So each specific, like there's a whole bunch of rooms that are supposed to mirror what actually happens at the qep'a. And so you can like click on different rooms and then exit out of one and go into another, like you were walking in and out of different rooms. So I think that the advantage of Discord is that there's also like a more tactile chat option than say in Zoom. Zoom, like you can private message each other, but then like there's only one main chat. Whereas I think here they're trying to make as many video conference rooms as possible, and like anyway, I wasn't on board for that decision, but yeah, for sure. I would, if you haven't done Discord before, I would try to get on and like mess around with it a little bit before the qep'a.
I have done, and I find it very user-unfriendly.
I know. I'm sorry.
And the second thing is that we are supposed to tag somebody, but I don't understand where. It wasn't written on a website. Tag some Yash guy to get the badge, and I don't understand where. It's not written where. Is it a general chat?
Yeah, you do that in the general chat. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You tag and then say this. I've paid for whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think the Discord will be in the same structure as was the conference for Whole Ambush. It was I think on June, and I saw 2 panels for culture and language, and it was everything with video, and was interesting. I think it was relatively okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I signed up and I got the T-shirt.
Woohoo! Yeah. T-shirts probably won't be getting there until after the actual qep'a, just because of the whole shuffle round. But you will be getting them. I think I'm getting one this week, if I'm not mistaken, because I'm doing like a poetry and like fiction workshop. So, sorry. I got one. Yay!
Nepotism.
Yeah. Yeah. qep'a.
And last question, because it's not written which time zone it is. So I guess it's basically from 8 a.m. until like maybe 10 p.m. or however. I mean, the main activities, not what the people do afterwards. But that's what, according to, because I have to check which time it is here.
Yeah.
What is it, Eastern time? What is it like?
It probably is, because Lawrence is in the Eastern time zone. So is Alan. John Shi is in Chicago, so he's in Central. But since the qep'a was supposed to be in Indianapolis, I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the Eastern time zone. But they might move some things around to make it better for as like an in-between between, because a lot of Europeans are probably going to participate. So they're probably going to try to figure out how to do that, how to balance that.
I just opened Discord and there's a picture of Deshgu.
Where? Oh, yes. Yeah,
in the general room.
Yes, Visharush was telling me that he liked my shirt that I'm wearing right now. Yeah. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about so who's taking the KLCP 1 again? Okay, Kebo, Tiago. No, Caitlin, you're not? I would try it.
I don't think I'm at that point yet.
Okay, all right.
Neither do I. But
I don't have anywhere near the vocabulary for it. At my age, it is so hard for me to commit things to long-term memory.
All right.
It's brutal.
So I do like this. I learn 10 words, and then I have to relearn the 10 words again.
Yeah.
They are not 10, they're
if I learn
500.
10 words, I've lost the words I learned 6 months ago, 2 months ago.
And I have a lot. It doesn't help much, but
yeah,
I've
got
anyway.
Here's my vocabulary lists here, but I still remember the words I learned in the 1990s.
Yeah.
When I was in my 30s, I could form those long term. So I still know, Lojmit and Dung.
Yeah.
And
so this is the guidelines, which you can go to at this web address. So https://www.kli.org/activities/guidelines. So if you go, and the way you can find that without clicking in that is you go into activities, and then down here you'll find Klingon language certification program, and you'll see guidelines.
And you can fail a test unlimited times?
Yes, you can. Yep. Does not matter how many times you fail, as long as you eventually pass it, then that's fine.
And do you know how much time can it take for results to come in?
Usually during the qep'a, it's like same day. So and you can take a test once a day. So over the course of the same qep'a, there's 3 days, so you can try a test 3 times.
Oh.
The way it normally works. Now that might have changed because of we're doing it online, but that's the way it usually works.
Okay, interesting.
So you'll have 3 different types of formats of questions. You'll be asked to perhaps translate a phrase into from English into Klingon, or from Klingon into English. You will be asked perhaps to fill in the blanks. So don't speak, you'll get the first part, and then you have to find the correct suffix. So here, don't speak, yajak ko, right? You will perhaps have the same thing, but in English. So yarach wuriv et. So ya is a tactical officer. So Worf is the tactical officer, right? And then you'll also be asked perhaps about grammar. What is the connotation of using may with a noun capable of language? Scattered all about. What is the connotation of using a general possessive suffix on a noun capable of language? Insult. So stuff like that.
So is it entirely written, or are we going to be given any audio to translate?
You will be given no audio. It is all written. Yeah. Yeah, KLCP 1 is a total of 20 questions, and it's some of what is found in TKD. Level 2.
And is it the same 20?
Sorry, what?
Is it always the same 20 questions, so that once you've done it, you know the answers to try it again, or?
No, there are multiple forms of the test. Okay. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So you can't memorize the test. No. So yeah, you'll get 20 questions and it'll cover some of TKD, of the Klingon dictionary. Level 2, you have to know all the vocabulary and all the grammar in TKD. Level 1, it's not that complicated. So
Level 1 requires 500 words, or I should say, will question. Okay.
500 common words from TKD, and you can find that list of what the words are at the bottom of this page.
Is there a Quizlet that already exists with all 500 words in it, or I'm gonna have to make one?
So here, so the reason I suggested Memrise was because Memrise already has courses for all of the KLCP. So if it'll load, come on, Memrise. If you'll go to this course, KLCP 1, the vocabulary you'll need for the first qualifying test of the Klingon language certification program. This has all of it. So all of these words that you find right here are right here.
Okay.
Yeah, I dream with Memrise.
You dream with Memrise?
I'm doing so much. Look at that. I'm the first one.
Yeah.
10 codes.
Yeah, I totally get you. Oh, excuse me. I don't know where I am. Here we go. This is my novel. So, okay, so you'll do that. All right.
What's with those pissy flowers? Can't they be daggers or something?
What's up with the flowers?
Yeah.
What?
Make them daggers for Klingon.
I don't understand.
On that last page you showed, there were a bunch of images of a flower.
Yes. So the way it works is so it's like the analogy of a plant, and then you have to keep on watering the plant, right? So what's cool about Memrise is oh my gosh, what the hell? It tracks, why are you doing this, computer? There we go, it's all messed up. Okay, so it'll track when you need to look over a word again. So I've done this quite a bit, so I need to revise this in 175 days, right? Pet, for whatever reason, I need to revise in 8 days, and so on and so forth. And it does this for every single word. So whenever you get up, it'll give you like a little notification. Oh, you might be starting to forget this word. Oh, wow, I need to revise this. Pet, what is that?
It isn't like that on the app. The app is much more simple. I don't get
this is a little bit more complicated. The app is more simple, for sure.
Yeah, I was using the Duolingo app and they told me about the added features on the website. So now I just have a shortcut to the website on my tablet.
Yeah. And then, you can do classic revision and you can.
Oh, no, you didn't tell me that the website was in French. Now what am I going to do?
No. It's just in French because that's the language of my browser. But so you can choose how many words you want to do for a classic revision. So I personally like to do words 100 at a time because it's just, for me, it's economical to do it that much because I already know.
How long does that take?
Go over them. For me, it takes about 5 minutes to.
100 words?
Yeah, and on this.
20 words a minute? 3 seconds a word?
Yep. And on this,
Jiminy.
Like even a bit shorter, like 4 minutes-ish. Because these are the ones that I learned first, right? And so they're the easiest that come to mind. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good goal, actually. With my clinical supervisees, they have to learn several hundred clinical terms.
Mm-hmm.
And the rule of the lab is if you are not hitting at least 17 correct definitions out loud in a minute, you don't get supervision that week. And they hit it. So that's a pretty good goal to have for fluency.
Something to add. There is Dash2 has made some videos and it's in YouTube, and it's just amazing how fast it goes.
Yeah, for sure. Let me find those videos for y'all. So I filmed my.
I would say to you that at the beginning when I was just learning and I was like with 20, 30 words, like something like this, I was very scared to see your videos.
That was the point. My point was just to show I felt like I didn't I felt like I had a certain way of studying, and I just wanted to like sort of show my way of studying. But it might not be effective for everybody. But
let me say, a few weeks later, so when I got a little bit better, I was doing exactly the same, but of course, 20 times slower or more.
And for like other ones, like the newer words, I'm a little slower, for sure, because they're not as, like the words from last year are not as familiar to me as the words that I learned like when I first learned the language. So here's the recording.
Yab, Och, Gehor, Weng, Ho, Lur, Dal, Deutsch, Hop, Schud, Hev, Huj, Hatch, Mej, Kran, Yap, Boom, Koch, Kor, Yai, Jer, Dev, Cat.
So you get the idea. So it's just you're going through them one after the other and getting through them as quickly as you can. But the way that helps me is it sort of helps me bash it into my head, like this is the word for this. For me, my goal was always to break down the translator in my head, the part of me that wants to translate what I'm trying to say rather than say what I'm trying to say. I think that everybody has that period of like language learning where you're not thinking in the language, you're thinking in your whatever language it is that you're thinking in, and then you're trying to translate from that language into the other one. Where you want to get to though is where you're not thinking about the English word or whatever. You're thinking about the Klingon word first, right? So that's what helps me, is just to sort of get rid of that, as much as I can, get rid of the moment of trying to think about what the word for hamana is, and instead just think, oh, that's the word for the thing. If that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm explaining myself well.
Is there a Klingon word for hamana?
Dop. I don't know. So here are the suffixes that you need to know for the KLCP. You need to know augmentative, so a and home. You don't need to know oi, but you can. Or you'll need to know for the cute suffix. You need to know for the second KLCP, but not for this one. You need to know coke, che, and not. You need to know which, so all the possessive suffixes, and then you need to know some of the type 5 suffixes. So namely these four: doc, vote, mote, and et. On top of that, you also need to know the basic verb prefixes. So je, be, ma, ka, ve, cho, mu, da. These are all prefixes that you're going to need for everyday speech. And so it makes sense to have them on the first test and not have like che and re. Che and re, which are two, less common verb suffixes or prefixes, you're going to need for the second test, because again, second test covers everything that's in TKD. And then the null prefix as well, which is pretty simple, right? You need to know these verb suffixes, so self and each other, the predisposition suffixes, nish, roop, kang, bech, vip. You need to know change of state, so choch and ka. Causation, moch. Ability, lach. You don't need to know loop, so don't worry about it if you're studying for the test. Ba, laut, bej, and chu. You need to know nesh. Again, nesh is that honorific that you rarely actually use in real life. A, the interrogative, bet, negation, and ku, emphatic. You need to know the pronouns. So jich, shoch, rach, och, mach, klich, chach, bich. Conjunctions, je, edge, rap, par, joke, koj. But honestly, edge and je and rap and par are probably going to be okay. I would eventually get to learning how to know when to use joke and koj versus rap and par, right? These two different ways of saying or. But you'd probably be fine with just edge and je and par and rap. Some exclamations, right? So nuknech, cha, chait, totshach, right? Some curses maybe. And then you need to know how to say these 4 questions: chait, rohr, ar, and kach. That's it.
That's all. Oh, gee. I'm nowhere near there.
And then you need to know all of this for the second one, but don't worry about the second one. You just need to know this for the first one. If you don't feel like you're going to pass it and you really don't want to take it until you feel like you're going to pass it, then don't take it. That being said, it's good experience just to do it. I think that there's a lot of anxiety around doing the test. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal whether or not you pass it or not. It doesn't mean you're less, you're a lesser Klingon speaker. It just means you didn't pass it the first time.
Is the qep'a the only place to take the test?
No, you can take it at the qep'a, which is the one in Germany. And then I even facilitated one last year at the qep'a, which was the Klingon meeting for Klingon dialects. And one of the Hul, who was one of the other organizers, had never taken a KLCP test before. So I got to be able to administer the test to him, just the first one. Yeah. Do we have any questions on that? That was a lot of information I just threw. Yeah. Oh.
As usual, quick coming with questions.
Okay.
Yeah. At the qep'a, you get this nice thingies if you pass from the Klingon Empire. Is it like if I manage to pass, which I don't think I will, but I will try. So will I get one at the qep'a the next time, or is it just if you do that at the qep'a, or?
You get a pin. It's from the Klingon Language Institute. So I think they've supplied Leben with with them. My guess is that if you pass, you'll get sent one in the mail. That's my guess. Yeah. The pins are pretty great. So there are 3 tests, right? And if you pass all 3, you get these little pins that form a trefoil, which you can put on your lapel. It's very cute. I have never worn mine, but I'm sure it's cute. I don't know. I guess I could, but I've never done that. There's also a 4th level called where, so the first level you become Tarwit. Before you pass anything, you're just a Chutwit. And then you pass one and you're Tarwit. And the second one, I think you're a Tlechwit, so intermediate. And then 4th one, you're a Putwit. So that's where I am right now. And then there's a 4th level that there's no test for, but it's called Grammarian, so Pop-Pin, and which means language boss or grammar boss. And the way you get that is you have to, as I remember it, it was explained to the qep'a once to me. So you have to know the grammar, know the language. That's step 1. And you just need to demonstrate that you know that. So you can have ad hoc conversations and stuff on multiple areas of discussion. You need to show that you're sticking around. So you need to stick around for a while. So it's not possible to become a pop pin immediately. And then the 3rd one is you need to make some major contribution to the community and do something.
And then you have to beat Mark Okrand in curse warfare.
No, I would like that. I would like that that to be added to the criteria. There you go.
So for meaningful contribution, is that things like translating texts, or I'm just curious?
That's an example. Yeah, it's a little bit fluid because I think it's supposed to be. It could be translating a text. Sorry. So Chris Lipscomb, he got his. I think he might not be a Poppin, but he is a friend of Maltz. I'm trying to think.
No, he's only level 2.
Sorry, what?
He's only level 2. He told on Discord team that he has not passed yet.
No, he hasn't. No. Trying to think of who got their. Like, I think Cove might be a Poppin because of Discovery. No, she's a friend of Maltz because of Discovery. I can't remember. Somebody did something that wasn't a translation. Ishkuk got to be a Poppin. She became a Poppin last year, and it was because of her translations. So I'm trying to think of somebody for whom that wasn't the case, but I can't think of anybody in particular. So yeah.
You know, time was when we had Jorge, and I suppose you could get an article published in there, but that's long gone.
It's true.
I'm still looking for issue 9.3 if anybody knows.
So, any other questions about the KLCP or the qep'a in general, what to expect? Is everybody kind of on the fence now about like whether or not to go? Tiago's going, qep'a's going. Tiago, yeah? What?
Yeah, I have a question. Do you have any ideas what are the points where all the students has most difficulties regarding the tests?
Yes, I do. And the answer to that is most people really don't like that the test asks you for to name the number of the noun and verb suffixes, right? Because each suffix type has a number, and it corresponds to where a suffix should go, right? If there's a chain of suffixes. So the test will ask you what is the number of the change verb suffixes, and you'll have to say, oh, it's number 3, stuff like that. What is the number of noun possessive suffixes? It's number 4. Oh, okay. A lot of people don't like that because they say, well, it's something that a Klingon, probably a native Klingon speaker, if there were any, wouldn't know. And it's the one thing that trips most people up, especially like even people who like already speak to a certain degree and like make themselves understood. Where I stand on it is I think that it's actually a useful piece of grammatical knowledge. I'm not sure if it should be included on the first test, but it is. But it is important eventually to know how to do because, for example, jajak katnish is ungrammatical. You should say jajak nish kat, right? And so on and so forth. So that's the thing that trips most people up. Is the numbering of the suffixes. Yeah.
And those questions they give us one suffixes and ask which is the number of it, right? Or it says the number. Does the question is regarding, they give us a suffixes and ask which number this suffix is?
Yeah, they could do that. They could also ask, name one type 5 suffix, verb suffix, and you have to write 1 or 2 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay,
it behooves you to know that for the first test.
Yeah, I have seen also in Discord that it's possible to have up to 3 questions with these numbers.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. Okay. Anything else do you see that's a little bit tricky that you can give us an advice?
That would be like the main thing, honestly. That and vocabulary. Yeah, those are the two main things. Is I mean, just know the list of vocabulary words as best as you can, and also know like the number of suffixes, like the suffix numbers. That's also a must. I'm trying to think of anything else. I can't really remember taking it, but I can. It was a while ago. No, those are really, yeah, just pay attention. Honestly, go over your test twice. Make sure that you didn't, misunderstand the question. That's an easy way to get tripped up. Trying to remember, I think you can pass with 80% or something like this.
Yeah, 80%.
So it's fine if you don't get everything right. That's okay. So if you want to decide, if you're right now thinking, okay, well, I haven't really studied for this. I know you have, Thiago, but maybe other people haven't. And you're thinking just about studying it anyway, maybe consider studying strategically, like, oh, it's really not realistic for me to memorize all of the suffix numbers, but it is possible for me to know all of these suffix meanings and how to remembering what the suffixes are. And also to revise, loosely the vocabulary. So yeah. Don't I was channeling George Bush there. Don't underestimate the Klingon technology words, right? So like, I'm gonna look at the list right now and see like, there's probably, in the first 500 words, there are a couple of like really weird words, like why would we have these on the first 500 words? But they're there anyway, so let's see here. Okay, so we have like the word for fire, a torpedo, rocket, or missile, which is pretty common. Like people say that because of like Klingons and stuff, Bach, right? There is, let's see here. No, I think actually that's probably it technology-wise. In the second test, there's definitely more. Like there's Joule Voigt, which is a transporter ionizer unit, so things like this. But that's for the second one. Nope.
I know Joel Pot, but not that one.
Which word?
Joel Pot.
Joule Pot, yeah. Joule Voigt is a really, really obscure word. And actually just only recently succeeded in using it in a conversation without forcing it. Or without realizing that I was going to use that. I didn't plan to use Joule Voigt, but I did. Okay. Does anybody want to go through the POC? Favorite book in the world? All right. Has everybody been reading it as we've been studying together, or have you just been using it for like the homework, for example?
Just for the homework.
Just for the homework? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, since I traveled through Chicago, I picked up a couple of my books, and I picked up the POC box. So I finally actually have my physical copy of the POC box. It's been well loved.
I left mine at home. Oh no.
Can you find it online? Here, I'll write down, I'll send you the line that I want you to, we're gonna read it out loud. And you can read off of that. All right, can y'all turn to page 87? Which should be number 12, Betlech Chen Kalish, which there's a grammatical error in there, isn't there? Yes, there is one. It should be Chenmoch, right? Oh, moch, chenmoj. Yeah, so there's a bunch of like typos. Supposedly, we're actually going to get a second edition of the Potbot, and all the typos should be taken out, which is pretty great. Okay, Thiago, can you take the first section, the first triplet there? Caitlin, can you take the second? Qep'a, can you take the third? And then Yotar, you'll take the one that I sent you, which is the fourth one. So you go after Qep'a. And then
How are you sending it?
I sent it to you in the chat as a private message.
Uh,
And then I'll take the last one.
how do I find it? All I see is the regular chat.
Yeah, that's the chat. Yeah, you should see it in the regular chat, but it's sent to you.
All I see is the Chenmoch, or oh wait, here above the Chenmoch. Okay.
Right. Okay, Thiago, take us away. Is everybody there first? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Ta me doen vita roep tisher ernish. Multer boer Dutch me vishernish. Hoch vishernish.
So I'm gonna stop you right there. So the one thing I would say is that really double down on the chai, right? It's supposed to be. And right now, what I'm hearing it out as is a voiced version of that. So the GH is what I'm hearing as, right? So it should be geshech ernish, right? The other thing, yeah, make sure, like you said, muderbor. So mudech, right? Make sure that when you're looking at the CH diagraph, you're saying ch and not r. You're not mistaking it for r. And then the other last thing I'll say is be careful about your vowel quality, because there's some of your vowels that are kind of getting mixed with other ones, or like your vitarup. So ve, right? Ve. You see how it's more of an open sound than v, right? Ve, vitarup, right? It's not vitarup, it's vitarup. Right? Go, right? Should be a O sound. Your actual sound. Goch. Yeah.
Goch.
So go ahead and say it again.
Ta me doen vita roep tisher ernish. Dutch boer Dutch me vishernish. Hoch vishernish.
Mach, kra. Thiago, Dun Kujai. Mach, Caitlin, Yeruch.
Oh boy, I'm rusty, so you're warned.
Yeruch. Yepek.
Jib dodge. Rumech moch. Jib dak. Rumech moch. Cool. Bik. Cool. Humme.
So, thing that stands out to me, and this is not bad criticism, this is just constructive criticism, is that your chai is sounding kind of like what I would expect your chai to sound like, right? So the chai should have more of, should be, whereas right now there's no sort of
K. K.
Sound. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not in so many words, but in so many words. Yeah.
Yeah.
So lumech moch, right? Lumech moch. The other thing is, can you say the first word of your thing again?
Dodge.
There you go. Yeah. The J, it should never sound like the G in rouge. It should always sound like the J in
hard. Yeah.
Hard. And then your chi was also kind of sounding chi-ish. So can you say your last line again?
Kur. Big. Chick. I'm having a hard time with
The eyes?
the two. Yeah, all of it really.
Well, what I hear
the and I'm going to use the English letters because I'm struggling to pronounce them, so it'd be hard to tell. But the two Q's and the H, I have a really hard time discriminating them orally.
I gotcha.
And orally. So those are tough.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way.
Don't feel bad. They're tough for a lot of people. In our thrice weekly sessions, those are some of the most oft corrected pronunciations.
Yeah. So they're not really being pronounced in the same place. So bik and bik. So the kai should be happening like way lower down in the throat than the bik, which is happening more like the back of the throat, right?
Okay.
So bik kick. I guess, I don't know. For me, it feels like kai and chai are kind of like, if you add them together, then it equals kai. If that makes any sense in terms of like trying to think about it.
I think one of the things that trips me up is the two Q's in the dictionary. The pronunciation difference is basically force, one of magnitude. And I feel like it's more complex than that. There's something I'm missing.
Yeah, well, kai is a uvular sound, and kai is a velar sound, which that may or may not make sense. I don't know if you have taken a look at the IPA. Oh no, they're both uvular sounds. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, no, they're both uvular sounds. So there's an IPA chart at the beginning of the Pakbach where they show you where everything is. So they're both uvular sounds. And kai, yeah, so it's kai and chai thrown together, basically. Just try saying, try making that sound.
Right now.
Right now.
Okay.
More of like, say, just do a k.
K.
Yeah, just regular K sound.
K.
Now doing the like l'chaim, the capital H sound. Okay, now do k.
Like,
yeah, try bringing them together now. That's already 100% better. Yes, that's great. So then, and just start off with that K sound again.
K.
And slowly move it back down into your throat. So really, there shouldn't be any air coming out.
King.
And feel like a click going on in your throat, like
Click.
Right?
I can.
Yeah, there you go. So bit, kick. And this is a great word to practice the difference between them on, because you know the different sounds in the same word. So bit, kick, bit, kick, bit, kick.
Big kick.
Big kick.
Big kick.
Big
Big
kick.
kick.
Tick.
Tick.
Yeah. There you go. And if you start off by saying this as just a regular K sound, people will understand you. Don't worry about it. Just know that eventually it needs to fall back down into your throat. So you just say big kick. That's fine.
Okay.
Cool. Machka. Qep'a yeruch.
Geochku, Genash, Gemopute, Gemak, Genab.
So I hear your et becoming like an like an A sound, like jamak is what I heard. And then
Jimek.
yeah, there you go. And then can you say your second line again?
Jinash.
Yeah, there you go. Cool. All right. I don't know what I heard.
Jimopte.
All right. Yotar, Yeruch.
Zibdaj, Lumekmoch, Edge Bejtachvish, Bashmoj.
Oh, jib. Jib is, I forgot to write the last word. Bashmoj jib is the last line. I forgot the noun.
Jibdaj, Lumekmoch, Edge Bejtachvish, Bashmoj jib.
Maj. And then the last one, Retordak len betmech, Korduk wit vikhan, Uyonmoch bortash nech. Cool. This is a story about Kalish turning his string of hair into the first betlech.
Yeah, I was translating mine, and they set his hair on fire, and while they watched, the hair turned to metal.
Yep,
Okay, then.
that is true. Yeah, sparks from the river. Jibdaj lumechmoch, kulbechtet kulchume. So the minor fires from the river, or the fire river's minor fires, burned his hair. Cool. Any questions on like the grammar of this thing? Is this confusing anybody? Any part of it? I have a comment. So whoever, I believe Mark Okrand worked a little bit on this, but actually there was another person who helped to translate it. Don't take everything that's in the Pakbak as gospel, because it's a gospel story. But I mean, there are some interesting things in it, but I don't take everything in it as gospel. There are definitely typos, and there are things that are definitely controversial and have not been confirmed or denied yet. So,
well, we can hand wave that away by saying it's an ancient writing and the language structure was different back then, so it's not suitable for modern grammar.
So here it's written Kordutwit. I think that that's wrong. I think it should be Kordutwij because, like for example, if we have a Rom, is the Rom capable of speech? I would say that the Rom is not capable of speech. It is a group of things that is capable of speech, but not the thing itself, right? That's my opinion, but there's a bunch of stuff like that throughout the Pakbak. So the lesson that I'm trying to say is there are things that are in the Pakbak that are still being like debated over. This Kordut wit being one of them. I would say that that's not correct. Somebody else would say, oh, of course you should use the beings capable of speech suffix for that, and they'll have their own arguments, and we'll take out the batlets, and then we'll start to shuv, and then might nab tutlu
So the argument is wit. Would that be appropriate because it's a aggregate noun and it's not talking about a single being capable of speech? Like a family doesn't really talk in a literal sense, just
right,
members of the family.
Right, that's my argument. And other people would say, well, we have words like kash, which means troops, and it's a collective noun. And we know that we can say kashwit, which means my troops. And I would agree that you can't, it's confirmed. We can't say kashwit. I would say that that's a bit different than kordut because kordut is not a grammatically, it's not, I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say. Kash is grammatically singular noun that refers to a group of, that refers to an ensemble of beings capable of speech. But Kordut is a noun that describes a collective of beings capable of speech. And it is, in the singular, it's in the singular, so there's not a special plural version of it. Chash is a special plural version, which is why I think that it's okay to say chashwe, because, for example, we have notwe. So note is the plural version of ancestors, and it's just understood that it's grammatically singular, but we're talking about multiple ancestors, right? I guess I'm not expressing myself 100% as I would like to, but that's basically my argument.
I don't know if it's really grammatical in a modern grammar kind of way. The part that I was reading, Jinash, Jimukte, Jimek, Jinab, and there's like nothing. Like I understand that Jimukte is while I'm ruthless. No, strike. While I strike, and then it's Jinash, Jinep, Jimek, Jinab. I guess that all of those happen while I strike. While I will strike, but it's like
all separate.
Jimek, edge, Jinab. Nothing like just.
They're all separate. There's no. So Klingon, like actual written Klingon, it's thought that it uses punctuation a lot. So they're all separate phrases. They're all separate sentences. So is one phrase, right? So when I strike, I am ferocious, or whatever. And then the third line is, what is it? Jimek.
Jinab. Jimek.
Jimek, period, Jinab. I reason, I plan.
Okay, because it's translated as if it was all together. It's translated ruthless, I will strike, national plant. It's like translated as if all words connected to the D.
Yeah, the translations are loose-ish. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Translations are there for loose reference, but they don't really show what the original Klingon actually means. I mean, they do, but not literally, of course. Yeah, that'd be cool if we had one of those. Just like a literal translation. Okay, let's talk about things that you can say during the qep'a, since it seems like a lot of people are actually planning on participating.
I could say qep'a.
No. Cool.
I have something very important that you say. That's Klingon hold Vichakbek. No, of course not. Klingon hold Vichakbek.
So I can't speak Klingon a lot, but you can't Klingon hold Dajak Achak Klingon hold Dajak Lach Kubet. Edge, qep'a. Another great phrase to know. Qep'a, no worries, no problem, right? That's a good one. Another good question, a good question to ask is Ror Klingon hol da Rojchoch. I can't really see because y'all are in my way here. Is that I did a
What verb suffix would mean merely? Like I am merely learning Klingon.
Does anybody who wants to? I'll respond to that in just a second. So what does this phrase mean?
When did you start learning?
Oh, when did you start learning Klingon? So then you can say what ben. What does ben mean?
Years ago.
Time ago?
A year ago.
1 year ago, and then
years ago.
Chop ben, right, etc. Whatever. Find out how long ago you started learning Klingon, and then learn how to say it. So, Tiago, how long ago did you start learning Klingon? Right.
Var Jach.
Var when. Right,
Var when.
When is
Var when.
According to Wikipedia, the Klingon dictionary is a book by
So this month, when is months ago.
Months ago, then years ago, and then you can have the word, like if you want to say however many weeks ago, so Two ago. Ret just means time period ago. So you just add it to whatever you're doing. So technically, I guess you could say chop dish ret, but that's not really correct. You just say chop in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yotar, your question was about just or merely. So there is a special adverbial, which is nech. Not to be confused with nech, the verb, which means to want, right? So
Okay.
What was your phrase again?
I am merely learning Klingon. So nech Klingon the. I used to say the Roj, but that's not. Is that? Oh, that is the one.
Yeah, Roj. Or you can say the Roj. So here's the thing about nech. Nech is weird, right? It doesn't mean weird, but it is weird. Nech comes after the thing that is just or merely, right? And it can go on either a noun. It can either go after either a noun or after a verb. So you could say Klingon hol v'hoj nech. I'm merely learning Klingon, or Klingon hol nech v'hoj. I'm learning merely Klingon, right?
I wouldn't have thought to use the lit suffix, but it makes sense because
you don't have to.
It's going on. It's yeah.
You don't have to. You can just say
yeah.
But you could say hoj because it
now that implies that. Does lit imply that there is an end to it at some point?
Yeah.
I will become proficient and I will no longer be learning?
Yeah. I mean, hoj, net shov, chak, klingon hol da hoj, edge shibet ha, josh shoot with da moj. So, everybody's always learning, but, eventually, like, you get to speak it and you're pretty fluent. Like, I think that's a good, like, point to say, like, the hoj ta. I've learned it, right? But then you're always I'm always learning.
Yeah, I probably would have used talk since I am continuously learning it.
If we were at the physical hotel, I would suggest this, patlij mit yingu, which means
what is me?
Identify. What is your identification number? No.
It would be number. So patlij, which means
your room.
And then mit is number.
Your
and
room
then
number.
yingu or yeper is to identify or to label. So basically, what's your room number? Which is useful because, like, maybe I'm hanging out with Archa at the qep'a, and it's kind of loud downstairs. I'm going to go hang out. So we go up to his room, and we're going to meet there in 5 minutes. And I would say to him, tell me what's your room number. And then you say that and be like, okay, I'll be up there in 5 minutes.
If you wanted their telephone number, would you say Humwit? Oh, not Humwit. Communicator?
You could say that. That would mean specifically cell phone.
Uh-huh.
Repair or hijab. So roa chablet is the word for a telephone, right? Roa chablet. A chablet is like a communications device, or like, for instance, there's also a nav chablet, which is a fax machine. Very important to say in Klingon. And then, so anyway, roa chablet is a telephone, and then khumwit is a communicator, but in regular spoken Klingon, it gets used to mean like a cell phone or a smartphone. Mit, so again, number, and then yingu, identify it, yeper, label it, right? The same thing, or not the same thing, but it's similar. And then hijab, and this does not mean yes, it means tell me, right? So he means command to me, right? And ja means to report or to tell. So tell me.
When do you use ja instead of jot?
Really good question. I would say something like hijat like speak to me, right? There's a prefix trick happening right here, right? Because normally you would say jichvad yijak, and that's fine too, but you would probably say chijak just for brevity's sake. That's a really good question, and one that.
And then,
yeah.
In clipped Klingon, would that just be jot?
Yeah, that would be jot, speak. Yeah. I think speaking. The thing about speaking is that. I think it would be the same difference between speak your cell phone number to me and tell me your cell phone number.
Okay, in Bokwit, jot is speak or say, and jot is tell, report.
Yep, that's it. Yep.
So the jot has a sort of context of relaying specific information.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas jot can just be shooting the breeze,
sure,
saying nothing important.
Yeah.
Jot has a purpose.
Yeah, then you can also get phrases like this, which mean pak mukme bijak. So to say that you speak a book aloud, right, would be, you have to say pak mukme bijak. You can't just say pak bijak. To say pak mukme bijak makes
You can't read a book aloud, you read the book's words aloud.
Right. And you speak the words books. You don't at the words
speak,
books.
right, not read. Okay.
Right.
There's a difference between speaking and reading. You read the book and you speak the words.
I don't understand this.
So to say I speak a book, like I read a book aloud, you say this instead of just saying pak bijak.
What's the word for an audiobook?
The common way to say that is a wapak, a sound book. There you go. Okay, what are some other phrases that you think would be probably useful? Yakbadab is probably a good one, right? Which means what?
Where do you live?
Yeah, where do you live, right? Since we don't have city names for a lot of places, it's probably good to start off with just saying, well, you can just say the city where you live. So Tiago Nukdak Bidab Shoch.
Birmingham Duck.
Nukdak?
Birmingham.
Okay.
German word, sorry.
Caitlin, Nukdak Bidab Shoch.
Melbourne.
Okay, Melbourne, Florida, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the country you live in, though?
United States. And crap, I do not know.
It's okay. It's a little bit of a long one. Job. Yeah. So you can say Melbourne Vidab or whatever. I might say Atlanta.
Can you say USA?
No.
Or
you might be understood, but no, that's not good.
No. What? Shy. I can't remember my letter names now.
The equivalent. You could say that. You could say that, I guess, but it's not proper Klingon.
So if you wanted to give, like I know in English, I would say Melbourne, Florida. If I wanted to give progressively smaller, more specific locations, would I go country, Florida, city in Klingon? Like saying the United States is Florida's Melbourne's?
Right, so
the opposite of what we normally do.
Okay.
Shep is like really sector or something.
In Melbourne, Florida, United States, you can say, you can't say something like this where you just use a doc again and again. The difference between saying.
So I'm in the Melbourne in Florida in US. Okay, right. That makes sense.
The difference between saying using no je and using je is if you were to say Amerika shepchich Minnesota dak je bimiji dak je, is that you're saying I live in the United States and Minnesota and Bemidji. Instead, saying that, you can say this, which means something a little bit different. You say, I am, right, jichtach, I am in Bemidji, in Minnesota, in the United States, right?
Why is it nukdak bidab and not nukdak dab?
What's the object in nukdak? If theoretically you were to say that, what's the object there?
What's the object? Well, the nukdak or the nuk.
Yeah.
Or the duck, actually. Yeah.
Nukdak is really not.
Well, duck, some kind of a place, is it?
Yeah, it doesn't really function that way, though. I mean, you can say nukdak wo, but besides that, I can't really think of anything. Like for example, nukdak bijach is the way you would say, "Where are you going?" Right? Nukdak majach. So you don't need to use an object prefix. You just need to use a zero prefix, an objectless prefix, none. I know it takes a little bit of getting used to. Sorry. It just is. That's all I can say. It just is. Yeah.
But then there's no way of differentiating between where are you going to and whereabout will you be going. Like,
I guess that's.
Are we going through the mountains or going to the mountains? Like that's the
true.
Same. Okay.
Yep. Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
And that's just the way it works out sometimes in Klingon, is that, no, there isn't really a way to differentiate. That's just the way the language works.
How often do you need to say something like "bichech-a"?
Sometimes. Bichech-a, you drunk?
Yes.
Bichech-a, there's another great one. Machach er. Judge.
Machach. Uh-huh.
Ach means to marinate or marinade. Right.
What?
To marinate. Let me just make sure I'm getting this right. To soak or to drench. Yeah. And then er, which means self, right? And this is slang for, so chach er is slang for to get wasted, to get pissed, to get whatever, whatever insert euphemism for getting drunk here, right? Get smashed, whatever. Chach er, to soak yourself. So the imagery is you're getting wet, right? Which means like you're knee deep.
Or to use a more similar English word, I guess, you're getting soused.
Sure. Yeah. Correct. Yeah, for sure. And then another way you could say that is, machech jaj or whatever, makluk jaj. Let's drink. Let's get drunk. Makluk jaj. There you go. All right. Are you enjoying the qep'a? What are we doing? And so on. I guess Caitlin must have left. I think she has her meeting. And I think we probably should start thinking about maybe ending the meeting ourselves.
Do we have the meeting next week or not because of the qep'a?
I don't know. What do y'all think?
Yeah. If you're up to it, you will be like.
Well, I'm up to it. Tiago, what are you thinking? Yeah. Scott?
Yeah.
It'll be cool. We can have a post. What's up?
I'll probably be depressed, but sure.
What? No.
Yeah,
Wow.
me too. Yeah, me too. But
We have an awesome post qep'a debrief, and I will be struggling to speak in English because for 3 days I ip, which is a good piece of qep'a specific vocabulary. So ip means to take a vow, to take an oath. So ip jich. So I always take a qep'a long ip, which means I only speak Klingon for the entirety of the qep'a, which I did for the qep'hom for the
yeah.
until the last night, and I was tired. I was like, Japuk, fed up. No. But it wasn't that I was fed up with Klingon. It was more like I had to have my own personal translator with me, and it was cool. It was a cool experience. But yeah, machvak. It's really cool. He decided to translate me during the qep'a.
To be honest, what I would say is next week I will probably completely dead also, because I expect it to be very intensive for me, because I don't know that much yet, of course, and everything will be everything very new for me. I'm just trying focus on the exam, so that's something that I'm trying to do right now, but it doesn't say that the words come easily for me. So, but I will take it very intensively. So, and probably Sunday I will not be able to speak at all, but let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, you're way ahead of me on vocabulary and understanding grammar, and I've been studying this stuff since 1985.
No, I'm just trying to study. It doesn't prove that I'm learning.
Let's try and do this. I am down if y'all are down. I'm probably going to be pretty exhausted myself, but I will definitely meet with y'all, and for the people that do want it, and then I'll post it up online. You can watch it afterwards, and I'll do my best to get a worksheet together. I kind of been slacking on that, I understand, but I'll try to do it. Yes, Krebo.
Yeah, I just want to say it's a pity that Caitlin went. I can write it as well. That I've been doing my journal online in the form of Instagram account, which you promised to follow and you still didn't.
Oh my gosh! I'm gonna do it right now. What's your thing called again? Yes.
Yeah. So, but probably there's a lot of mistakes there. So yeah, but I just thought that if you have Instagram account, if you want to follow me, I will be any one of you. I would be really happy to, and if you want to comment, I'll be even in Klingon, because it's only an account that I do in Klingon, like only. It would be really great.
Yeah.
And I'm writing in the. Of course, it's a big S, but it doesn't matter in the Instagram. So that's my account name on Instagram. And yeah, well, I don't know if it's the stuff I'm writing about. It's so interesting, but I would be happy if any of you would like to write anything from time to time, like once in a month or something. Just write something in Klingon there. I would be really happy. Yeah.
This is so good. Yes, do this. Yes, this is amazing. Jar Shoch Jaj Watmach Shoch. That's okay. Dach Jaj Watvat Kutmach Shon Shimyon Rech. Dun Ku. Viparcha. Nice. This is all awesome. Totally poor.
Thanks.
Or totally for. I'm
So how do we find you?
doing like Franglish. What?
It's on Instagram. Is this?
Yeah,
don't
I
know
have
what
an
it's
account, but I've never actually used it, so I don't know how to find people.
Okay, so here, if you get in here, if you wait, can I? No, wait, nobody, nothing is. Wait. So
Yeah,
right
okay.
here there's this
Okay. Magnifying
magnifying
glass. All
glass.
right.
So up here you have search, and you just write the name. Like here, so you start writing, and then it should come up. I thought that's true, that you know, that my level is so low that you didn't want to follow me.
Robert Bemouj. Krebo, the Pope. You about Hakko, don't worry. Je Katlap Benech Bedge.
I don't see a qep'a in the
No,
list.
no.
No?
Chronos.
Oh, okay,
No,
I see that
chronos,
one.
like a journal. I
With
wrote
an-
it. I wrote it
Okay.
in the chat. It's like first the underscore,
Follow.
chronos underscore.
Qep'a pongwij Klingon hol veknish mo honoshvam vitag. That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Maj.
37 followers.
So yeah, so just press on follow and yeah.
Cool. So don't forget also that this week we're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff on the unofficial stuff on the Discord server. So make sure to participate in some of that stuff. Speaking on in real life, and
Thanks for following.
hype that the Pope Kasat Vinech
The Pope? Pope?
the Pope
Pope?
Shoch
Pope? The Pope?
the Pope Pope the Pope
The Pope is
Still? No,
the Pope.
Oh, I heard the Pope.
you are skilled.
I heard the Pope, and I heard wrongly.
Yeah.
Thanks. You see, I'm not. I didn't even hear what you were saying.
All right, pitch. I gotta get ready for my tool with hole my Esperanto class. So pitch tools my judge.
I was reading an old science fiction magazine and I got to the end and there were all of these ads and there was one in there to learn Esperanto. This is from, I think, 1973, and millions of people are speaking it. Sign up now.
Can't we make a kind of a city, or like officially, like politically, make it like a mini country where the official language is Klingon?
I'd love to do that. I have a dream. I've actually had an idea for a novel that would be set in like dystopian future, and like it takes place in this Klingon speaking village, and they don't know anything.
So, you know, cities have like a little Tokyo and stuff. They need to start having home.
Yeah. There's for lower decks. That's actually what I called Chicago jokingly for a time. Because there was so many. But lower decks, apparently, there was an image from lower decks where some characters are entering home, which little crow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a show I don't think I'm going to be able to watch. That type of humor is not for me.
It's like it's like the original series cartoon. It's like whatever.
Yeah, that I'll watch. Yeah. Heck, Larry Niven wrote an episode of that, bringing his Kazinti into the Star Trek universe.
Yes. Maj, dag je mens, Maj, pit.